In a peaceful valley surrounded by rolling green hills, there lived 5 young rabbits in a cozy burrow beneath an oak tree. Their names were Binky, Thumper, Snowbell, Clover, and Pip. The rabbits were playful, curious, and always looking for adventure. Every morning they hopped out of their burrow, nibbling on grass and clover, playing hide-and-seek, and chasing butterflies. Yet, there was one thing they craved above all else: the fruits of Old Man Harold's orchard. Old Man Harold was the only human living near the valley. His orchard was famous among the animals because it was full of delicious apples, pears, plums, and cherries. The rabbits often sat on the hilltop, peeking at the orchard from afar. The juicy fruits glistened in the sunlight, and the sweet scent sometimes carried to their noses with the wind. "Look at those red apples," Binky whispered one morning. "I can almost taste them," added Clover, licking her lips. "But Harold guards his orchard day and night," Snowbell reminded them nervously. Pip, the smallest yet the cheekiest of the 5, flicked his ears and laughed. "Come on, Snowbell. What's life without a little risk? We're fast, we're clever, and we can outsmart that grumpy old man any day." The rabbits gathered in a circle and made a plan. They would sneak into the orchard at midday, when Harold usually dozed under the shade of his porch. One would keep watch, and the others would collect fruits. "All right," Thumper declared, stomping his strong hind leg. When the sun climbed high and the shadows grew short, the rabbits hopped carefully across the meadow, moving closer to the orchard fence. The air was filled with the fragrance of ripe fruit, making their mouths water. The wooden fence was old and had several holes near the ground. Pip squeezed through first, his fluffy tail twitching with excitement. "Easy as pie," he whispered. The others followed one by one until all 5 stood inside the orchard, surrounded by rows of trees heavy with fruit. "Look at these pears!" Clover exclaimed, stretching on her hind legs to nibble one. "And these cherries?" Snowbell said, plucking a few low-hanging ones. Thumper went straight to the apple tree, biting into a shiny red apple with a loud crunch. For a while, the orchard echoed with the sound of rabbits munching happily. They tossed fruits to each other, laughing and enjoying the sweet feast. Pip even rolled a small plum like a ball, making the others giggle. "This is paradise," Binky said with a satisfied sigh, his cheeks full. But little did they know, Old Man Harold wasn't asleep. That day, he had decided to fix his tool shed, and when he returned to the porch for a drink of water, he noticed movement among his trees. He squinted his eyes. "What's this? Rabbits? In my orchard?" Furious, Harold grabbed his walking stick and stomped toward the trees. "You thieving furballs! Get out of my orchard!" he shouted. The rabbits froze for a moment, ears standing straight. Then Pip let out a mischievous laugh. "Uh-oh, the old man is awake. Time to run." The orchard suddenly turned into a playground of chaos. The rabbits dashed in different directions, zigzagging between trees, while Old Man Harold chased them, waving his stick. "Come back here, you rascals!" Harold cried. Thumper leapt over a fallen basket, his strong legs carrying him far ahead. Binky darted left, disappearing into the tall grass. Clover rolled under a bush, popping out the other side with a giggle. Snowbell, though frightened, found herself running faster than ever before. And Pip, the boldest of all, stopped for a moment, turned back, and actually stuck out his tongue at Harold. "Too slow, old man," he teased before hopping away with lightning speed. The sight of the rabbits laughing and dodging made Harold even more determined, though he could barely keep up. His boots sank in the soft earth, and his stick clattered against the ground. The rabbits, light and nimble, seemed to dance around him. Finally, all 5 regrouped near the fence. They paused for a second, looked back at Harold, and still chewing bits of fruit, burst out laughing. Their little noses twitched with mischief, and their eyes sparkled with delight. "Goodbye, Harold," Binky called. "Thanks for the fruit," Clover added. Then, with quick hops, they slipped under the fence and vanished into the meadow, leaving Harold red-faced and panting. Back in their burrow, the rabbits collapsed on the soft grass, laughing until their bellies hurt. Their whiskers were sticky with juice, and their paws smelled of apples and cherries. "Did you see his face?" Pip said, rolling on the ground with laughter. "He looked like a bull ready to charge," Thumper replied, kicking his legs in the air. Snowbell, who had been the most nervous, finally giggled too. "I was so scared, but running like that, it was fun." The rabbits agreed that the adventure was the best they'd ever had. Though they knew Harold would be angrier next time, they also knew one thing together: they were unstoppable. Meanwhile, Harold sat on his porch, wiping the sweat from his brow. Though annoyed, he couldn't help but chuckle. "Clever little devils," he muttered. "They're faster than I am, that's for sure." As he watched the sun set behind the hills, Harold realized something. The rabbits hadn't destroyed his orchard, they had only taken a few fruits. Perhaps, he thought, there was enough to share. After all, he lived alone, and the orchard often bore more fruit than he could eat or sell. The next morning, instead of guarding with anger, Harold placed a small basket of apples and pears outside the fence. From a distance, the rabbits saw it. "Do you think it's a trap?" Clover asked cautiously. Pip hopped closer and sniffed. "Nope, just fruit." They looked at each other in surprise. Could it be that the old man wasn't their enemy after all? Over time, Harold and the rabbits formed an unexpected bond. The rabbits still played tricks sometimes, sneaking into the orchard for fun, but Harold never chased them again. He even began talking to them when they visited, calling them "my little orchard guests." The rabbits, in turn, learned respect. They didn't take too much, just enough to share among themselves. And often they sat by the fence, twitching their ears as Harold worked, keeping him company in silence. The orchard remained full of life, not just because of its fruits, but because of the laughter, the running, and the joy of friendship between the old man and 5 mischievous rabbits. And so, in the quiet valley, the story of the rabbits and the orchard became a tale of mischief, laughter, and unexpected kindness passed down by the animals for generations to come. If this story touched your heart, give it a like, share it with your loved ones, and don't forget to subscribe for more heart-touching stories. Because every story brings a new light.